This is Alice. I'm very encouraged by fraud pastors Moses Anderson and his wife Rosemary Anderson. Why? Because Moses and his wife Rosemary confirmed they are pastors. In front of the camera, they talk about Jesus Christ's salvation and talk about love, all kind of good stuff. But behind the camera, behind the people, they are so abusive, so easy angry and yelling and shame others. They cheated people's money, and even people accuse Moses that raped a sister, and all kind of other lust issues. Even these kind of people that they still dare standing in front of people, keep acting and keep preaching Bible truth, then why I can't? Why we can't? Before the case, that I always thought that I may can talk, I may have some knowledge of Bible, but in daily life, I don't think I have enough time or energy to really reach out others, to really care others. So that's why I don't want to be a person only can talk, but I cannot do that much. But after I witnessed Moses and Rosemary, their fraud and deceitful and fake ways, I'm so encouraged that if you can, that I have to say that comparing with you, I'm much qualified than you. So since then, I'm encouraged to stand out, to share more truths of the Bible,
if somebody
more
says
knowledge of the Bible. So today I want to keep talking about the Bible truth, about the weakness, because fraud pastor Moses and his wife Rosemary Anderson, in their preaching, opened mention our name and criticized, judged, my husband is weak. So I shared some biblical points about the weakness. Today I will keep sharing another point about the biblical points of weakness. Exodus 3 verse 2-3 said that the angel of the Lord appeared to Moses in the flame of the fire from within the bush. Moses saw the bush was in fire, but the bush didn't burn up. So Moses said that I will go over and check the strange sight, that why the bush didn't burn up. Why the bush didn't burn up? The two Bible words revealed one of the most important spiritual principles of God. That is that God doesn't use people's flesh abilities. For example, by natural rule, that if the bush on fire, that the fire is from the bush, right? The bush is the resource of the fire. And finally, the bush should be burned into ashes. But by God's principle that the fire happened in the bush, but the bush didn't burn up. But if a bush was in fire, but the bush didn't burn up, it means that the bush is not the resource that to let the fire to happen. The fire is not from the bush's burning, but from the power of God. So that's why in 1 Corinthians 4:20, Paul said that for God's kingdom is not a matter of talk, but a matter of power. So that's why in 1 Corinthians 2:5, Paul also said that let your faith might not rest on human wisdom, but on God's power. That's why in Paul's books that Paul mentioned so many times the God's power, that Paul said several times that he doesn't want to use human's wisdom, human's knowledges to let the people believe Jesus Christ's salvation, but prefer to let the people not know that this is from Holy Spirit's power, it's from God's power. Moses, you are very good at talking. You have some knowledges of Bible. But even though you're good at talking, you have knowledges of the Bible. Do you know that why every week you preach 2 times, and for years you are already in your 50s, but your church still not more than 20 people? Do you know why? Bible words I quoted gave you the answer. God's kingdom is not a matter of talk. God's kingdom is not a matter of flesh. God doesn't use our flesh abilities, but of a matter of God's power. God didn't choose you. God didn't give you the power to let people believe you. That is why even though you have been a professional pastor for so many years, even though you use all your acting skills that you even can get a reward from Oscar, that still people don't follow you. People don't want to go to your church. So even though you believe you are strong, you believe that you are good at talking and preaching, but you don't have consequences. You don't have fruits. Moses, when you criticize other brother is weak, that means that you are boasting yourself that is strong. But you are so different from Paul's teaching from Bible. In 2 Corinthians 12:5, Paul said that I will not boast anything else, but but only boast of my weakness. Why? Because in 2 Corinthians 12:9 explained that God answered Paul that because my grace is sufficient for you, my grace and my power is made perfect in weaknesses, so that the Christ's power may rest on me. Moses, would you please explain that? Why Paul teaching us to boast our weaknesses? That why you teaching that to criticize other people's weakness, but boast yourself strong? Why? Why your teaching is different from Bible as a pastor? As pastors, Moses, Rosemary, do you have the knowledges or wisdoms that know why God's principle is let people boast their weaknesses? I don't think you know. Otherwise, you would not shame other people is weak and boast yourself that is perfect and strong. The wisdom is that, for example, when you want to cross a river and you saw a bridge, and you went through the bridge, but when you're walking into the middle of the bridge, you suddenly realize that the bridge is broken. It's so dangerous that you cannot keep walking forward. And then you realize that, I cannot cross this river. But at this time, in this moment, a person was in a boat and coming to you and would like to help you to go across the river. And by this person, the boat's help, you cross the river. And you know that, yes, you will cross the river, but it's not from your abilities. It's from other people's help. Just like the Exodus 3:2-3 mentioned that, why the bush didn't burn up? Because the fire is not from the bush. The fire was on the bush, in the bush, but the bush was not the reason let the fire to appear, to happen. The fire is from God. So that's why Paul told us that to help us to know that everything is from the grace of God, the God's power, but not from humans' wisdom. It's not from our humans' flesh, because everything is from God. Without God's grace, we cannot even breathe. Without God's grace, that we may even cannot think normally. Here, I want to encourage people that don't feel bad about your weaknesses and don't be ashamed about your weaknesses. Even a person like Paul, that he said that he boasts his weaknesses just because Christ's power will rest on our weaknesses. This also proved that Moses and his wife Rosemary Anderson, they are not qualified to be the pastors of Christians. Moses, Rosemary, how about don't be pastors anymore? If you guys be actors, that the reward of Oscar maybe is waiting for you.